Okay, the freshness of a shell egg directly relates to the size of the air cell. So that is how they're graded as far as in the industry. An inspector will oftentimes use this air cell gauge, which basically measures the size of the air pocket, which is always on the large end of the egg. So what they'll do is they'll take this egg and they'll illuminate it with a candler. And it used to be done in ancient times actually with a candle. That's where the name came from. And they'll measure the size of that air cell. The larger the air cell, the less fresh the egg, the less viscous the albumin, and the less quality of the egg. So if I'm advertising eggs to be AA grade, then they must pass the air cell size test. And inspectors will periodically go into retail establishments and they'll pull a sample and they'll actually check it against this air cell chart, if you will, or gauge. So they'll hold it up, as you see how we're doing this here, and it illuminates the interior of the egg. And we see this air pocket right here on the large side, on the big end of the egg. And it has to measure within these groups to qualify for that grade. This being a B grade, which is our weakest grade, A grade, which is how most eggs are sold, and AA, which is the very freshest. So if we put the egg up there and we hold the air cell gauge up there, we see that the grade A, it exceeds the boundaries of that cutout or that gauge. So this is a B grade egg. It's not a very fresh egg and it does not have a very viscous albumin, which deters from the egg white function. If you're a professional chef and you're making a meringue and you want it to be stiff or what have you, a weak or a B grade egg does not serve well for that purpose. Now, let's take another one here that's maybe a little higher grade. Here you see we have a very small air cell as compared to the one I just showed you. And if we go down the line, it does exceed the parameters of our AA, but it'll fit within the parameters of the A grade. So this is a grade A egg, and this is more than likely what you'd be purchased at your local retail establishment. Also, when we're candling shell eggs, we're looking for any type of foreign material in that egg. And it is possible to have a meat spot, a blood spot, and sometimes even some type of debris, because whatever happens to get into that hen's oviduct is going to be wrapped up into a package that we call the egg. So we're also looking for anything floating or dancing around in there that shouldn't be there, which would render it a lost egg and cannot be sold for human consumption. So let's take another example here. Here's a relatively large air cell, and one might think, well, maybe that's an A quality, but if I put the A gauge up there, it does exceed that. So we have to call this a B grade egg. And most B grade eggs are sold in some type of a breakout situation and not over the counter in a carton for the consumer. Let's look at another example here just so you get a feel for this. There's a very large air cell. Can you see that? Okay. If we put the A type gauge on there, you see how it extends beyond it? So we know that this is a B grade egg. Again, not really going to be used for retail establishments. It'd go to a breakout type market. Okay, we'll look at that next. And then now if we look at here, now here's a relatively small air cell. It will fit within the parameters of our AA. As time goes on, it will depreciate into an A and then eventually a B grade egg. It's a kind of a combination of storage conditions and time. So let's see, we have a, okay, that's a very large air cell. You can see that it's obviously is not going to fit within the parameters of our AA or our A grade. Obviously it's going to have to be a B, and that's how eggs are graded. As far as interior quality is concerned, eggs in the industry are graded three ways: exterior shell quality, interior air cell size, and overall weight or size. And that kind of in a nutshell is how it's done. Let's look at another one. You see the air cell there? Very small, very small. That's easily going to fit within the parameters of our AA. So this could be sold today in its current condition as a grade AA egg. Understand?
Yes, sir.
Okay.